We overthrew the government of Bangladesh in 2024. The Biden administration did. There had been a big beef between the Democrats and the prime minister of Bangladesh over a number of issues. Military base in the region, petroleum. Hillary Clinton at one point when she was Secretary of State threatened to have the IRS go after the prime minister's son who was living in the U.S. Biden's State Department was losing hearts and minds in Bangladesh. They lost the last two elections, and the State Department had correspondence with the National Endowment for Democracy about what to do about it. After the loss, I believe it was in 2021, 2022, the elections there, the State Department worked with one of their NGO CIA cutouts, the National Endowment for Democracy, about what could be done in Bangladesh, because despite running all this money into the opposition, they still got crushed in the election. And what was proposed was a destabilization campaign. Instead of trying to win the vote, trying to organize a color revolution to get people in the streets and to destabilize the country in order to essentially break it and induce a crisis. And one of the ways they did that was through funding not just students and universities and all of the different cleavages in Bangladesh society who felt disaffected. For example, Ned, with State Department money, sponsored transgender dance festivals, really went after like the LGBT population, went after
as
women
a way
who felt
to spark division.
Yes, as a way to do street protests and to create an international human rights outcry, as a way to break down society, and so that they wouldn't just have an ordinary vote, it would be chaos, it'd be destabilized. And this is what happens if you can't win an election under stable conditions, induce a crisis, things break, and then there's movement. And then sometimes you can just overthrow the government, like was done in Ukraine and like what was done in Bangladesh. It was amazing what turned up. The CIA, through IRI, was funding Bangladesh rap and hip-hop groups to sponsor musical and hip-hop anthems targeted at young people, unemployed people, disaffected youth, to take to the streets and to sow distrust in the Bangladesh government. In fact, this was in the baseline assessment report of IRI to the State Department. They bragged about this. The CIA, through IRI, was reporting to the State Department about the different musical anthems that were being produced with State Department money to get people to take to the streets, to get people to distrust or believe that their government was corrupt. And they were reporting on this, how the lyrics were, quote, designed to get people in the streets and protesting. But you see the same thing everywhere. You have revolution music sponsored by the U.S. State Department, USAID. Freedombeat.org, I think, is one you can look at, where it's literally just civil resistance movement sponsored by the State Department to sponsor riots and revolutions.
Jesus, man. Okay, so what Mike Benz has just told us is that warfare is no longer kinetic, at least if we can avoid it. The real warfare is soft power. There are people that fully understand the way that we are indoctrinated, whether it's music, education, arts, on and on. And they are finding ways to get money into those places through NGOs and the like, USAID being the most famous right now, of disseminating taxpayer dollars around the globe under the guise of being philanthropic, but actually being soft power warfare, that these are effectively agents of, you were very careful to say they're not all agents of the government, but certainly what we're talking about right now, that some subset of them are agents of government foreign policy